right, hello, what's up? It's me, Haley Jones, and I'm here with Andrew Ellis of U Brew Coffee Co. So you can imagine today we're going to be talking about coffee. Okay, so as you know, we do some quick rapid fire. So we're going to start with some hard-hitting questions. Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Hot coffee, room temperature.
Okay, what is the most overrated flavor in a coffee?
Hazelnut.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I like it, but I think it's overrated.
You think it's, okay. Okay, what's the most underrated flavor?
Oh, man. Ooh.
Hard-hitting question.
See, I'm a black coffee drinker, so I have to think hard. Okay, Cinnabon.
Oh.
You know Cinnabon?
Yeah.
Their coffee creamer, it's like the cinnamon roll coffee creamer. I think more people should drink that.
Where do you get that? Like Kroger or whatever?
Kroger, Walmart.
In the creamer section.
It's creamer section. It's like a blue label.
Okay, cappuccino or Americano?
Americano.
Like all day long.
Yeah, between those. Yeah, I'm a black coffee. So
yeah. Okay.
Technically a long black.
Yeah.
There's a difference. You don't care.
Wait, what does that mean?
Americano.
Yeah.
Water.
Yes.
Water's down the espresso.
Yes.
Long black, there's water and the espresso pours on top.
Oh.
It's the same drink, but the mouthfeel is better with a long black.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Do you have a dog?
I have 2 dogs and 2 cats, so.
Oh.
Don't tell
Don't let the
Bowie.
cats watch this. Okay. Football or baseball?
Football.
Who's your team? Do you have a team?
The Vols.
Obviously. We can continue this interview. But you're from El Paso, Texas originally.
Yes.
And been in Tennessee for?
Since I was 7.
Like Knoxville the whole time?
Well, we moved to Maryville,
Okay.
Mascot, Granger County, and then Knoxville.
Yeah.
So I've been in Knoxville since like 5th grade maybe.
Wow, okay. So your whole life basically.
Yeah, the life that matters.
Right. So you're not a Texas fan?
No. So I only follow volunteer sports.
Yeah.
Outside of that, Texas A&M, I have like some weird attachment to them.
Yeah.
But that's the only teams I really. Yeah. I'm not a sports guy. Okay,
let's take a hard right turn and talk about business. Okay, so your business is U Brew. It's on his hat. U Brew Coffee Co. Right there. Okay, so tell us, what is U Brew? What is the, what do we need to know?
Okay, yeah. So as the name suggests, U Brew is about you. Coffee's a journey. What I have created is a hands-on experience with that coffee.
Yeah.
I help elevate coffee's profiles for the consumer. So I travel the country sourcing small roasters. They have a passion for beans. I have a passion for you. And so I bring those back and we do coffee together. Yeah. So it's you smelling, tasting 5 different coffees. It's you pairing those with different foods to bring out what you like. It's you grinding your own coffee, brewing your own coffee. It's just opening up that world of coffee for you.
Yeah. Recently, I was at a client's house and we were talking and she's like, hey, do you want me to make you a latte? And I was like, yeah, sure. And it was probably like the best latte I've ever had. She did, like, she ground the beans, whatever. She did the whole thing, okay? And I'm like, how can I do this at my house? So if someone's like wanting to elevate, but they are literally in the Keurig coffee stage, like how do I get from A to Z? What's your suggestions?
A very expensive hobby. That's how you get that. And I want to bridge that gap too, so that's kind of one of my passions. But obviously Keurigs have that convenience factor. A lot of local coffee shops, they make their own pods, like Golden Roast. Dawn does really great K-cups.
Yeah.
So there's that convenience.
Right.
The cups you get from the box stores, obviously those taste like junk. You can get
like
better coffees and fresher coffees in some pods. But when you want to make that bridge between fast convenience, like Nespresso has, I have a Latissimo one at home, and it does its own like froth milk and whatnot internal. So it'll make lattes and stuff like that, and they taste decent. But from there, it all comes down to you taking control of your cups. So that's where you buy an entry level, like a Breville or DeLonghi type espresso machine, and then coffee shops, they do well, but they're turning out very quickly. Right. When you're at home, you're doing one for you, so you take that time, you kind of hone the craft, dial in your espresso, but it starts with that. So it starts with about $500 in an entry-level espresso, and a lot of people, it just slowly builds. Now you have a $5,000 machine on your coffee bar at home. But it starts there. It starts
Yeah.
with some machinery. I'm a purist, so my espresso is literally a lever with no electronic components. I have complete control. I have a little barometric reader, so I'm like pulling my own bars. It is by hand, and I can pull a better shot than your friend can make on a $5,000 machine. I'm just saying. So it
Anna, shots fired. No, I'm just kidding.
we'll go head to head. We'll see. You can try my shot. I'll try yours.
Okay, so I mean, how did you get here? Because I'm like, I love coffee, okay, but also I have a Keurig, okay, and I use it every day. So how did you get to like, what was the progression, I guess?
All right. I've always been into the beverage industry, so
Yeah.
sensory. So bourbons, scotches, wines, being able to pull out those profiles. Dan Goss, who is a local here, he opened up Point B.
Yes.
He was one of the co-openers of Downtown Grill and Brewery.
Yes.
So he's who got me into like craft beer, bourbons, and scotches. And so he got me into that. So with the sensory elements, and then with craft beer, it was about breweries and that like culture, the craft behind it. I just always thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
And then about 10 years ago, I already liked coffee, but John Clark, Vienna Coffee Company, took me down into the roasting facilities at Vienna. And I walked down and I was like, kid in a candy shop. I was like, this is awesome. This is just like a brewery. Like, this is amazing. And so he showed me all the stuff. Like, we're talking rows and rows of like sacks of beans, roasted beans, production going out, giant roasters. And that's what started me when I would travel. Instead of going to breweries, I started going to roasteries.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so that developed that. And then a couple years ago, I decided to go sober for multiple factors like mental health, like those really expanded. But the third reason was to save money.
Yeah.
And I didn't save money. I just spent more money on coffee.
How about coffee?
And so U Brew actually started as a note in my phone. It was monetized love for coffee, ? Because COVID had killed my last business. It kind of killed my spirits. So I really wasn't doing anything for myself anymore. And I was like, all right, I've got coffee. I'm spending a lot of money on it. I need to pay for the coffee, the equipment, and the travels. How do I do that?
Yeah.
And then going sober, I realized there wasn't enough in the beverage industry to do together and still be able to drive home.
Yeah.
And so we've got a growing community of a sober community. There wasn't anything, so I built it.
Well, when you talk about U Brew and kind of the things that you offer, so on your website you've got all kinds of different, you've got the cuppings and subscription or whatever, so tell us about those things.
There's a story behind how it like evolved. There's a lot of pivots. But U Brew started as that experience, and that's where it's a booked journey.
Yeah.
So I come in-home for private events. I go to in-office for like team building exercises.
Yeah.
And then I do like events. And so that is a hands-on journey. I'm guiding that, giving a little bit of tidbits, enough information and education to help you appreciate your cup more.
Yeah.
Not so much where you're like bogged down with the stuff I care about and it just start you in one ear out the other. So it's really heavy on the experience. The space will provide that for people to come to and do as well still. I travel grading small micro roasters.
Oh, that's cool.
And if I grade them above an 80 consistently, that's who I cycle in.
So you've got that, the cupping, which you have a space coming in January. Okay,
so
where is that going to be?
Fingers crossed, I don't want to jinx myself, but I have a space in the Bearden area, kind of going into Sequoia Hills. Right there, it's Hamburg.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got a space going in there.
Wow.
So a nice little space to do my retail side of things.
Swanky space.
And the lounge. Big distinction. I know this sounds pretentious, but it will be a coffee lounge, not a coffee shop. So if you say, hey, my buddy Andrew with U Brew, he's opening up a coffee shop, I'm gonna be like, no.
It is not a coffee shop, it's a coffee lounge. Okay.
Yes, just like I explain it like a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
You're going to select something and have a hands-on experience with it.
Oh, that's
There'll
cool.
be someone there like with a cigar, they're like, oh yes, if you like some nutty with some vanilla notes, this right here is gonna be right down your alley.
Okay.
And you pick it. So I'll have the most beans on tap in the nation. So a bunch of different roasting partners, a bunch of different beans. They're single dosed, so you can select that. I got a wall of brewers where you can go and like, oh, a Kalita Wave. Have you heard of that? In January, you'll be able to come try it out without buying one.
I'm excited.
You'll be able to try a hand espresso.
Yeah.
So that way you can be like, hey, I can do something on this.
Right.
Now I feel comfortable buying it.
Right. Okay, so the cupping, the lounge is coming. What else does U Brew do?
Retail. So obviously I provide that guided journey.
Yes.
But not everyone wants to come do something in person. Not everyone's comfortable with that. So I offer it as a self-guided journey at home.
Yeah.
So the same experience, I do the 5 beans in 2 different sizes that you can buy for home. And then of course I have my subscription box. You can't have a coffee company without a subscription box. And so that's one thing where you can purchase. It's the Golden Cup Club. You purchase that, and it's a monthly subscription. It ships out on the 12th of every month. And then you get 5 different coffees each month. So 60 different coffees from 12 different brewers or roasters in the country. So the idea is this month you get 5 coffees and you're like, oh, this is my new favorite bean. And then you support that roaster. All my bags give a call to action to support the roasters. So I don't take anything from roasters. I direct back. You buy an experience from me. You'll always love that experience. You find a bean you like, you get to support a roaster at the same time. And then next month, you get 5 new beans from me, and you go, oh, this is my daily driver for this month.
Okay.
You support that roaster.
Yeah.
And so obviously I offer that, and then I made a few pivots that don't make sense on the surface, but I make coffee mug candles.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah.
So I make candles and I make body scrubs.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And so, I should have brought some for you to try. But this is one thing where I made those for myself.
Yeah.
I like, if you can do it or make it, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And so I made those, and at the end of classes, I kind of go through hey, don't throw out your spent grounds. I like to be zero waste. So it's like, you can use it as fertilizer, compost. People know that. Dry it out and put it in your fridge as a deodorizer. Do this, do that. And then I always say, I make body scrubs out of mine, and the stale beans I make for it gives this roasted profile when the candle burns and heats up the beans. And they're like, oh, do you sell this? And I'm like, no. Next group, oh, do you sell this? No. I'm like, you know what? People want it. Let me go ahead and start selling it. And the candles weren't originally in coffee mugs, but I found out it was just about the same price for me to buy U Brew coffee mugs in bulk as it was to use glass. Oh. And so I was like, oh, you know what? Genius idea. It looks like a little latte in a cup. Yeah. And so I started selling those candles, and they're obviously coffee themed, like French vanilla, coffee and creamer, orange mocha frappuccino, if you've seen Zoolander. No one's seen Zoolander, apparently.
Okay, so cupping, the lounge, the subscription box, candles, body scrub. Did we miss anything?
And then obviously the space will allow me to retail. So the different brewers, the different equipment and stuff, I'll be able to sell that.
So give us a lesson in coffee vocabulary. So for example, this morning I was reading the box of my K-Cups, which I know makes you want to fall out of the chair. But there were words like dark roast, light roast, medium roast, single batch, or I wrote it down. Single origin.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so when somebody's looking and they're new to the coffee game, I'm not new to the coffee game, but I have literally no idea. I'm like, this is a pretty box.
Yeah.
So how could I better do this, basically?
Okay. Talk to someone like me that can guide you. But no, it really is just dialing in what you like. So start by noticing those.
Yeah.
Most people know light roast, dark roast.
Yeah.
And then they're always...
Because what is that even? I literally don't even know what that is.
So the roast is how long it's roasted and how long it's developed while it roasts.
Okay.
So the darker the roast, the longer it roasted, the darker the bean, the darker the profile typically. And so most people know, oh, I like a lighter roast or I like a darker roast. And then they're amazed because they always think dark roast is more caffeine. But obviously, as you roast it, you're roasting out that caffeine.
Yeah.
But it's a negligible difference. Hot take: there really is no difference. Light roast roast has more caffeine, but I don't think it's not enough to change the amount in the cup.
Okay.
But so that's really just how long it was roasted.
Okay.
And then when you get small roasters, you'll see on their bags typically almost all of them will give you their profiles from when they cupped it, or if they got it graded, it'll be apple or dark chocolate, cherry, and it'll have these profiles which are the volatile compounds, the organic compounds inside the beans that are developed. So that is really just malic acid is what develops into an apple profile. It's also what's in an apple that gives it that taste. And so it really is just, there's nothing added to those beans. And then of course, the smaller you get, the more care you get. So micro lots, those single origins, it comes from one country. It's not a blend of a bunch of different countries where they just put a whole bunch of commodity coffee into a decent bean. So those single origins, those micro lots, that's where you can really get control over the bean.
How long do the beans last? Do you need to be thinking this bag is gonna last me for the week? Or when do you need to, what gives you the freshest possible cup, I guess?
Yeah, so usually the sweet spot is in my opinion, 10 to 14 days after it was roasted.
Okay.
After in most cases, after 48 hours, it's gassed, which is the CO2 and that gas coming off. That's where you'll get those bags where you can they're kind of puffy and you can squeeze and smell.
Oh yeah.
So most of the time they've degassed, but I think 10 to 14 days is a great range to.
Okay, what's a gateway drug, for lack of a better word, to get from a Keurig to, like, should I just start with a bean and grind it and then put it, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's my gateway?
So Keurig has those reusable pods.
Yeah.
They can be messy. I think the easiest barrier, a lot of people are hesitant to like manual brewing.
Yeah.
Because they think it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But we'd mentioned like a Cleta wave.
Yeah.
You can set that up, grind your beans, dump it, and you can brew it within 2.5 to 3.5 minutes.
Oh.
So it doesn't take that long, and I
Yeah.
think, and it's very cheap. You can just get the brewer portion
Yeah.
and set it on your mug in the morning
Yeah.
and brew your cup of coffee in like 3 minutes.
Done.
So that's where I say, because you can
Yeah.
get into that for like a cheap grinder and that Cleta, you can get in for like $30.
Yeah.
And
okay.
start, which is much cheaper than your Keurig was, and
Okay.
it gives you full control.
Yeah. So tell us about, I've been on your TikTok. Tell us about your dirty chai challenge.
Okay, yeah. So I told you I had a dirty chai candle
Yes.
that I came out with. And so I like dirty chais, my wife liked dirty chais, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this would make a great candle.
Yeah.
But I hadn't had a chai in a while. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, let me refresh real quick. Let me go grab one because I'm doing all my mixes and like,
Right.
I think this smells like chai.
Right.
But I don't know because I haven't smelled it recently. And so I went and got one and I'm like, all right, you know what? I should do 2 or 3 to get a wide base.
Yes.
Might as well do every single one in Knoxville. So I did every single chai in Knoxville that I might have missed 1 or 2, but
Yeah.
I did 32 different chais,
Yeah.
which is a good base.
I would say so. Yeah.
And, I might butcher this. Tanya Reyes, it might
Yeah.
be Tanya Rees, I can never remember,
Yeah.
but REA.
Yeah.
She's off Broadway.
Yeah.
Her spicy chai that she does, that chai blend is actually what I ended up modeling the
Oh,
candle
that's cool.
after. So I did all of these. Capybara. I
Yes.
keep name dropping people.
Yes.
Shout out.
Yes.
But Capybara, they're at University Commons right
Yes.
off campus. They were my favorite dirty chai latte. But the scent that I used was from Tanya Reyes.
Okay. Is Tanya Reyes a coffee shop or?
It is a tea shop. They do,
Oh.
they'll make
Yeah,
coffee as well, but it
okay.
is a tea shop.
I didn't know they exist. I know Capybara, but I didn't know about Tanya Reyes.
So Tanya Reyes and Kraken's Cup, those are 2
Okay.
tea shops that are really close.
Yeah.
But Tanya Ray will also do like they did at our chai. They have a little
Yeah.
espresso machine
Yeah.
that they'll add coffee to. But yeah, so that's how the dirty chai.
I was like, what is this?
It was
I'm
dual
gonna do
purpose.
this.
I
I'm gonna do
needed
this
the
challenge.
research, and it
Yes.
gave me content for TikTok.
Yes,
So 30 days
okay.
of content built in.
That's cool.
It was a very
Yeah.
expensive campaign because I don't like to take free drinks. I'm like, no, we support
Yeah,
each other. I gotta
right.
buy this.
Yeah.
So it was a very expensive campaign. Trying all those, I would try 2 to 3 in a day too.
Yeah.
And so it was worth it. It was real fun.
So if someone was gonna go on like a coffee tour of Knoxville, like where should they go?
What part of town? Because there's no shortage of coffee shops. We really, like I said,
But there is a shortage of coffee lounges.
there will be one. And so there's just so many.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't name them all
Right.
without missing some. But obviously downtown and Old City area, that going into historic Knox, that has the
Yeah.
highest density,
Concentration, I
concentration
guess?
of coffee shops, which is natural in every
Yeah.
city. But then
Yeah, because you have like K Brew, Remedy. Well, actually, you have 2 K Brews in downtown. You've got Remedy. You've got
Old City
Coffee
Java.
and Chocolate, Old City Java.
Partial, you've got...
What's Partial?
Partial's right off Central. Shay owns Partial. He just opened that up not that long. It's one of the newest coffee shops. But that's right next to downtown. You've got Five and Hook. You've got
I've never
Coffee
even
and
heard of
Chocolate,
Five and Hook.
Mahalo. You've got so
okay.
many. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then South Knoxville has a good
South
choice.
Knox,
There's an entire community going down Chapman Highway there.
Yeah. Okay, this is such a dumb question, but I just have to ask this. Was there a cup of coffee that has changed your life? That you're like, this cup of coffee.
So, again, I try all coffee shops.
Yeah.
Or roasters. I try
Yeah.
to be intentional. And I try to go in without any bias, knowing anything about them.
Yeah.
So when I try all their coffees, I typically will really like one.
Yeah.
I'll be in a city and try 13 different roasters in the area.
Yeah.
And only grade 1 consistently above an 80 to where I can cycle it in. But that doesn't mean those were my favorite.
Right.
It's not as non-biased as possible with it. But there's always some that like blow my mind. One in particular, it was a micro lot from Radio Roasters in Decatur,
Okay.
Georgia. And it was gala apple, baking spices, and like agave.
Yeah.
I drank it.
Changes life.
It was the first one I would be like, oh, this is a 90. It's very hard to get in that range for me personally,
Yeah.
grading it like that. But it was just so profound. It was the type of life-changing type coffee. But a lot of roasters have a coffee that I'm like, this is oh yes. Like
This is
I'll go
amazing.
back to Golden Roast, like their espresso. He has
Yeah.
like a Brazil Peru blend that's like dark chocolate, almonds and walnut. And as an espresso, I was like, this is my jam.
This is me.
And normally I gravitate towards lighter roasts anyways,
Yeah.
and that was a darker roast. And I'm like, there's something about that. It always like, it gives a feeling.
Yeah.
But there's a lot out there. Really, anywhere you go, just Google roastery near me,
Oh.
and there will be no
You'll find
shortage.
it. What about internationally? Is there like a place internationally that you're like, I gotta go try coffee there?
Ethiopia,
Yes.
birthplace of coffee, obviously. They have the most varietals and most farms. And then Central America, if you're ever in Central America, they always have good farms.
Yeah.
Hawaii. I
Really?
loved the farm. So Kona coffee is kind of renowned.
Yeah,
But when you get
okay.
Kona coffee here, that's another one. If you go to Kroger and get Kona coffee, it's like 10% Kona beans and like 90%
Oh.
filler. But when you're in Hawaii, the coffee is just
Yeah.
mint. Costa Rica was one of my favorites, like in origin. But those are like anywhere between the tropics.
Yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
going to be where
Okay.
like the crops grow. Like that's
Right.
where Arabica, which is just a
Right.
variety of coffee plant, that's where that grows best.
Okay.
And so anywhere you travel within the tropics, you're going to find
I
a
hadn't thought
good,
about that, but that makes sense.
a good farm
Yeah.
that is, those beans you can try somewhere close by.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Anything that we haven't talked about that you're like, people need to know this?
Oh man, this is an open question. There's so much.
I know.
Let's see here. Book a cupping with me.
Yes.
And we can go over that. It's pretty open-ended, so there's a lot of questions people have. But as far as things to know about coffee, get it from local. Get it
local.
freshly roasted. Please grind it yourself.
Yeah.
So grind within the first like 5 minutes. A lot of that fragrance has escaped.
Yeah.
So grind it and then brew it. And then the more you can get towards manual, not everyone's a purist like me, but the more you can do yourself,
Yeah.
the more you'll be able to control what you do. Because you can take that same bean and brew it with 5 different methods
Yeah.
and pull out slight differences in all of them.
Right.
So it really is just about doing it in the moment and using as fresh as possible.
There you go.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay, so dumb question. So you said grind it yourself and then make it, but basically it's like get the beans 10 days after they're roasted.
Yeah, so
Then
that's-
grind it and then make the coffee like
Especially if you don't have patience. If you get my stuff that goes out to subscribers is
Yeah.
roasted to order.
Okay.
And I like to let that degas before I package
Yeah,
for them.
okay.
And then it ships out on the 12th because to me that gets it to them within 10 days.
Okay, got it.
So if you don't have patience, don't buy a freshly roasted. Obviously buy fresh roasted
Right.
and hold on to it, let it degas.
Right.
But yeah, so once it's hit that, grind right before you brew.
Okay, got it.
That's everyone in the coffee industry has their own preferences. Some people tell
Right.
you, 48 hours, 72 hours, 10 days, 2 weeks. And they'll have, it's just like with anything. Everyone has their own opinion. They're all right. It's just what you like.
Everyone has their own.
So start with someone's suggestion and then adapt to you.
Yeah, okay. So in 5 years, where is U Brew Coffee Co?
So in 5 years, my goal, so we're opening up the Knoxville location. I've got an investor, hopefully in Round Rock. So
cool.
that'll be opening up as soon as I prove concept for the lounge.
Yeah.
And then I want to spiral and have 5 total open. Again, I would love Charlotte. I would love Chicago. I was thinking Denver, but apparently a lot of people that are moving here from Denver have said don't open in Denver.
Yeah.
So I want to open in those areas. Again, airport cities that have a lot of coffee shops. People like coffee there. That way I can provide coffees from around the country in that
Yeah.
space for people to just have a different experience each
Yeah.
time. So in 5 years, 5 shops. That's where I want to be.
Nice.
5 lounges for people to just get that same experience across the country. And hopefully I'll have like a, you know how McKay's did their like anniversary. Where it's like
Yes.
go to all our McKay's.
Yes.
Hopefully I'll have some kind of
Oh, that'd be
passport
cool.
developed just to
Yes.
hit all those locations.
That's cool.
Give people something to look forward to when they travel.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where should people engage with you, follow you, go to your website, go to Instagram? Where do you want people to find you?
Yeah, so the main ones, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Facebook and Instagram are just U Brew Coffee, at U Brew Coffee. TikTok's a little tricky because it's at that U Brew Dude.
And we'll link it.
Link those.
Yeah.
But yeah, so TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook are the main three. I'm starting to plan content for YouTube, so longer form content.
Yes.
But you can follow me on YouTube. There's nothing there yet. There's one video that I posted just to have a video up. It was a cross post. But those are the main ones.
Okay, cool. And so candles, he's got product. I think these would make great gifts. I already have a brother-in-law for the subscription situation. But also the candles, like, and the body scrub, stuff like that, great gifts. And then cupping for like a date night, you know what I'm saying? If you got a coffee person, I would call him. So just some things to throw out there. But so go follow him, give him some love. I'm so pumped. I'm going to elevate my coffee journey. And I can't wait for this lounge. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. Everyone says they want to build community. I truly want to create a community.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the catalyst for that, I hope.
That is awesome. Cool. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
This has been awesome. Cool. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
See you.